Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's demo, Threat Detection and Response Capabilities. My name is Dave Lorti. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Armor and host for today's broadcast. Before we get started, I'd just like to go over some webinar housekeeping tips. Everyone is currently on mute, and you will remain on mute for the duration of the webcast. If you have any technical or audio issues, please let us know through the chat window. If you do have sound issues, you might want to try calling in via telephone versus through the computer. At the end of the presentation, we will have some time for questions and answers. Just use the question or the hand raise function to ask about any of the topics that we're discussing today. The demo is being recorded, and a link to an edited version will be sent to all attendees after the event. So with that, we can go ahead and just jump right in. So this webinar is really intended to be kind of a quick hit on a number of key capabilities and features that we rolled out as part of our big launch back on June 2nd. So I'm going to be going through into the Armor Management Portal, showing you how some of these work, how you actually go about using them, and then I'll wind that up with a Q&A as I mentioned. By the way, everything that we discussed today is available on docs.armor.com in terms of information. So if you have other questions beyond the broadcast today or want to find more information on the capabilities, just check out docs.armor.com for that. So again, my name is Dave Lorti. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Armor, and I'm responsible for the Armor Anywhere portfolio. Starting my 10th year in cybersecurity, so I've got a lot of experience in this space. I'm real excited to be talking with you today about these different capabilities and features that we launched back on June 2nd, as well as what's to come in the months ahead, which we'll leave for a later conversation. So if you had a chance to see one of the various communications or announcements that we made back on the 2nd, then you might be a little bit familiar with what you see here. But basically that represented one of the biggest launches that Armor has ever done in its history. And we rolled out a lot of new capabilities and tools for our customers and users to leverage. When you take a look at those, besides the overall enhancements to our cloud security platform, you really have kind of these two areas where this functionality falls into: enhanced threat detection and response, and greater operational control and flexibility. And on that latter, in terms of operational control and flexibility, what you'll see today is how we're giving users and our customers overall more visibility into the information that we use to provide the security and compliance outcomes you're looking for, but also give you ways to manipulate your security posture, make changes in various ways as you go forward. So it's a big change from what you've seen from us in the past. For today's focus, though, I'm going to focus on the top here, but you're definitely going to see some of that functionality that gives you kind of more operational control. So we're going to talk about intrusion prevention, policy recommendation scans. I'm going to show you a little bit on vulnerability exclusions, which we're real excited about, and then top it off with login data management and what we've got going on there now. So I'm going to jump over to the Armor Management Portal, so bear with me just a moment. And give me just a second here as the authentication comes through. Wonderful, got it. Okay, so what we have here, right, is the Armor Management Portal. I'm just gonna kind of get rid of all the iconography. And you can see here, if you're familiar with the Armor Management Portal, you can see your overall health overview dashboard here, right, with lots of summary information. First thing on our list that I want to cover is intrusion prevention. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down here on the left side navigation. I'm going to click Intrusion Prevention. So a little bit of background here. We've been hearing from customers for some time that they really wanted to see this capability from Armor. They wanted a way to basically, go beyond the detection, right, to prevent and block incoming threats to their hosts. And so that's what we're delivering here today, is intrusion prevention. And as you look at the screen here, right, you probably don't see much change. This is very similar to what we had with the intrusion detection page. And you can see, just top signatures over the last 7 days, top affected VMs, and then of course, kind of some event information down below, right? But what's changed is really kind of behind here as to, what is it you want Armor to do for your VM or collection of VMs, right, in terms of prevent or detect. And that's what we're allowing now is you can set intrusion prevention or intrusion detection for a single VM or a collection of VMs as you see fit. So let's jump down to another piece of functionality that we rolled out. Under here, the infrastructure tab. And you can see the toolbox. And give it here just a moment. And so what the toolbox is basically a graphical user interface, right, to make it very simple to use, to be able to make changes to the various capabilities you have running on one instance or a collection of instances. All of this you can also do with the command line interface, but we pulled those commands in, created this more friendly user interface, which would allow anybody who's not a coder, right, or a developer with familiarity of the CLI, you can do this very easy. So easy, actually, even a marketer like myself can do it. So what you see here are a list of various tasks that have been created in the toolbox. And you can just see some of these are completed or here's canceled, and then of course pending. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to schedule a task. And it's going to pull up this view. And this is where the magic happens from an intrusion prevention standpoint in terms of being able to set it for prevent or detect. So over here, I go into the product drop down and I just pick intrusion prevention. And you'll notice you see pretty much all our other capabilities spelled out here. And this is a big change as of June 2nd from before. We are providing you the ability to turn things on and off as you see appropriate based on your use case. Of course, we're going to tell you that we like to see all things active for a given workload you may have, but there may be valid reasons, right, that you're willing to make changes to a given workload or collection based on kind of this overall security posture you want or the risk you're willing to take on, et cetera. But again, a big change from the past in that we're allowing you this flexibility to make those choices. So I'm going to choose intrusion prevention. And then over here, you can see kind of my options, right? And I'm just going to select the turn intrusion prevention on in prevent mode. And I'm just going to name this, let's say you have a change management process. I'm just going to put something simple here. And then here you can select your virtual machines. And it'll pop up here. And you can just select one or more, as many as you should see fit, right? We really were focused on, hey, it's important that you can change things for a given instance, but what if you want to change a whole collection? What if you have a particular set of machines and a geography, or maybe there's something related to PCI, et cetera? Lots of choices you have here to select, which machines you want to apply this to. And I'm just going to, just grab a couple here, actually. And select those. And then what you can do here is you can actually select the date that you want this action to take place, right? So if you have some type of window coming up and you don't want to do anything within that window, you can schedule this around this. Otherwise, what you can do is basically have it where it's going to run in the next 15-minute heartbeat cycle and do the updates. So this is, and then you would just click schedule task right here and you're off and running. So what I've shown you here is, kind of a couple things, right? One is how easy it is to take the new capability we delivered, intrusion prevention, and decide whether you want that in, you want to apply that in a prevent mode for one or more machines very easily. Only took a few seconds, right? So we're getting away from this, the previous where you might kind of reach out to us, ticket, and wait for us to make a change. We're really empowering users with a lot more control over security capabilities inside the Armor Management Portal. Okay, so that's intrusion prevention. Want to talk a little bit about kind of what you might have seen here, which are rules and rule sets. So as part of these changes and kind of our overall direction, again, we really wanted to put in the hands of our customers virtually all the same information that we are using and leveraging to deliver the security and compliance outcomes you expect from us. And so this is where you can actually take a look at all the IPS roles we have available in our library. You can take a look at those roles that are assigned, right? So if you think about if you have, let's say, a Linux instance, you're running intrusion prevention, you're not going to want to necessarily, apply Windows-based rules to that, right? So this allows you just to see the rules that you have applied, and of course you can assign rules based on the virtual instance you have and what you're trying to accomplish or your particular use case. So lots of flexibility and visibility into what it is we use to actually deliver the security and compliance protections you're looking for. So again, much more overall control you have of your security through the Armor Management Portal. Now, since we're here in the toolbox, I wanted to show kind of the next item on our list, and that's recommendation scans. And just bear with me here. So recommendation scans really are, it's a scan of your host. It's looking at the operating system. It's looking at your registry. It's looking at activities. It's looking at just a whole spectrum of what's happening on your virtual machine. And it's then providing recommendations as to rules and controls for that particular instance. And what's great about recommendation scans is what it's going to tell you is it's going to essentially identify vulnerabilities, and particularly vulnerabilities that can be addressed through updates to the rule sets for file integrity monitoring and intrusion prevention in particular. And what's great about that is essentially kind of another checks and balances to make sure that you're doing everything you should be doing from a security standpoint related to that specific instance. The other part about it is you can actually set it so that you can run a recommendation scan, schedule in advance, as well as have the opportunity to auto-apply rules as you deem fit. So again, lots of capabilities here, and we love the recommendation scans just because, like I said, it's that extra check mechanism to ensure that you're doing everything you can from a security and compliance control standpoint related to that virtual machine. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to jump back here to the security tab, and I'm going to go to vulnerability scanning. And we'll give that just a moment here to pull up. So this is your vulnerability scanning page. And as you can see here, right, we've got a number of vulnerabilities called out here. And you can see on this page, right, we call out the affected assets, number of assets, anything excluded, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. We show the CVSS score and the severity, and then of course, are there known exploits here? And what we're going to do here is we're going to click right into one of these vulnerabilities. And you can see here we've got, some contextual information, right, and links to other information on this particular vulnerability. And you can see the affected endpoints. Now, let's say for sake of argument, you've got a production line in a manufacturing operation, and there is an application that is, legacy, runs in that facility, and despite your best wishes to refactor that application to get it to a point where it's, you can run patches on it and address vulnerabilities. Let's just say that there is no intent to do that in the organization. So rather than having this, continue to pop up from a vulnerability standpoint, you want to exclude that virtual machine from this particular instance. So you can click here on exclude assets, And you can see here where it's giving me a little information again on this vulnerability. And I can specify the reason, right? So maybe it's an acceptable risk, or let's say it's false positive, that's the case, or you have a compensating control in place that allows you to take this step. We'll just put acceptable risk here. And then let's say, you just want an expiration of 1 month. For sake of argument, you prefer any exclusions, you want to make sure that you're reviewing them at least once a month. And then you can come down here and just apply to whatever assets that you wanted to exclude them. And you would just click exclude assets here. So that's essentially all you have to do in terms of having kind of this ability to exclude an asset from a vulnerability, right? So the whole point of this, if you kind of step back, is we've gone from just reporting on vulnerabilities to giving you key, easy to use tools that allow you to really manage vulnerabilities much more effectively. So we're going kind of from just a scanning operation or kind of scanning representation to really more vulnerability management overall through this new capability here. And I'm just going to close out of that. Now, for instance, let's go back to the scanning page itself. Let's just say, for sake of argument, that you have some exclusions, you want to see those, and you wanted to remove an exclusion potentially. And that's where you would go here on the exclusions tab, and you'd see everything you've got here. And all you'd have to do is, either view the exclusion or remove it outright here through this step. So again, just very easy operations within the Armor Management Portal. We wanted to give the users, whether that's DevOps or security analysts, just much greater control over security and your security and risk posture than ever before here. So that is vulnerability exclusions all together. Just another great piece of functionality. So next thing I want to focus in on is login data management. And give it just a moment here to pull that up. And for those of you who've been with us a long time, right, you understand that what we do is largely at that host level, right, where we're providing a really robust suite of capabilities at the host to protect those applications and data running on those virtual machines. Obviously providing, performing the analysis and correlation and sending back alerts, providing, oh, looks like we have a little error, and that's probably related to my own connection. Let's try that again. But we've been real focused on that workload. Well, we've heard from customers for some time now, right, as they really like the outcomes, the ease at which they can do things with us, how we take care of things at the host and all the information we're providing, and the security and compliance outcomes they're looking for. And they wanted us to figure out how to extend that beyond the host. And that's what our login data management product is all about, or capability, which is really to drive security and compliance outcomes for your other security and compliance related infrastructure, right? And we're talking firewall, IPS, IDS that you may have, AV, other tools that you may have, cloud native services from a security standpoint. We can ingest that and deliver security value back to you by leveraging our cloud security platform. So I'm going to click on this external sources. Take a look here. So in the login and management at the external sources, this is where where the magic is now happening. What you can see here is a number of assets that go beyond just our host-based Armor Anywhere agent and the controls associated with that, but go to other sources that we can now ingest log and event information for to provide security and or compliance outcomes to our customers. So this just shows you some of those, right? But what we want to do here is come over here to the right, click that little blue button. And this is where we can actually add other sources. So let's just, for sake of argument, let's talk about, let's say you're running AWS CloudTrail for virtual machines you have in AWS, and we'll just select it there. And by the way, you can kind of see here, it's a real long list of different third-party sources, whether those be virtualized appliances, devices, cloud-native services, etc., right? Whether they be firewall, IPS, IDS, VPNs, you name it. We can support up to 290 different sources currently, and providing to drive overall security and compliance value for you. So let me go back to our example of AWS. Pick that. And then kind of what you're going to see is once you select that, you're going to see some instructions in terms of connecting that source to us. Now, one thing to call out is in some cases, it may be when you're selecting a source that you won't see that contextualized instruction below. And what that means is we can support that source. It's just that we haven't had somebody come to us specifically requesting that to where we've performed the tuning. So if you find that you have a source in your environment and we haven't yet done that, you don't see the instructions there, then that just means that reach out to us, have a conversation, but we'll want to do some tuning to ensure that we're delivering security value back for the login event information that we ingest there. And by the way, for those sources that we've done that, we actually maintain battle cards which show the specific tactics, techniques, and procedures that we are detecting against related to that particular source. We'd be more than happy to share that with you if there's interest in seeing that. So this is all about how you actually connect another source in your environment to Armor to take that login event information and run it through our cloud security platform, turning it back in terms of security and compliance value in the sense of helping us to be more effective at detection, but probably more importantly to add context to everything else that we're doing for you across your environment. And again, the big picture here is you can really see through the log and data management we have here that we are going much further to expand into other devices, virtualized appliances, cloud native services, etc., that you may have running in your environment. Okay, so next thing I want to hit on is log search. And so as I mentioned kind of a little bit earlier, and this will come up here just momentarily, we really made a conscious decision to share a lot more information with our customers going forward. And that's part of this log search and data visualization capability that we rolled out. You might have seen it before with a little beta tag on it. We moved it into full production now. So what we've done essentially, is to make all of that log and event information, whether that be from our own Armor agent capabilities, whether that be from third-party appliances you've connected into us, or cloud-native services, we wanted to make all that information available to you to allow you to perform additional log searches, maybe investigation for forensics, or maybe to do searching and visualizations related to reporting to senior leadership. We wanted to give you kind of real powerful tools to allow you to go beyond what we even do and the information we're providing after we've enriched that data. And that's what this allows you to do. And so basically you can come in here to this tool and it's just a wealth of information based on all the information we have related to your account in our data lake. And here you can see, just kind of going down here in all this event information here, and you can certainly drill down and see just a lot more information that we've compiled and made available to you. And you'll notice here that we have all these different tags as well, which means, so this is information that we've taken in, we've normalized it, parsed it, enriched it with threat intelligence and other information for context, and then made it available to you. And so it's really at your fingertips to manipulate as you like, to make searches, save those searches, etc. And then you can create dashboards. And let me just go to the dashboards feature. And what you can see here is really just, you have all these choices, right, to really kind of create different ways to visualize the data and make it so that you can actually set it, right? So every time you get in, it refreshes. Or maybe it refreshes, every week, whatever that preference you have. But you've got a lot of various tools and representations here to put that information together. And again, we've talked with customers that are real excited about this, right? Because we hear some of them want to do some more proactive activity in terms of searching through log and event information. They want to create dashboarding they can leverage for senior level presentations, et cetera. So lots of power in this particular tool. And then of course, just in each of the individual events, we're sharing all that information and appended data that we've put together. We're allowing you to be able to do a lot with it. So that is the log search and data visualization capability. And those are the range of things I wanted to speak to you about, but let me jump back now to just a presentation, share some resources, and then get us to Q&A. So bear with me here. Okay, so for more information on the capabilities we talked about and Armor Anywhere as well, we've got, of course, you can find these in the webinar tool, basically a data sheet for Armor Anywhere, technical solutions brief, and then information on our Armor Automated Security and Compliance solution. Also, be sure to keep in mind docs.armor.com for everything you might be wondering about related to what we talked about today, including frequently asked questions. And with that, we will go ahead and take a look at questions. If you'd like, go ahead and submit your questions into the webinar tool now, and I'll give you just a moment, and then we will go ahead and answer those. Okay, and I've been alerted by my team, we are a little tight on time, so I'm just going to pick up a couple of these questions that we've got here. So give me a second. Okay. So what is the difference between a recommendation scan and a vulnerability scan? Great question. So a vulnerability scan is really going to be looking across your operating system applications, right? They're looking for exploits that are known, where there may be something that somebody obviously can develop a tool and exploit that particular application. So those really refer to more of your overall operating system and applications running, and whether a vulnerability exists, is somebody could create a TTP to go basically exploit. Recommendation scans can be different because it's really looking at the host itself, trying to understand what controls are in place overall, looking at, like I said, the operating system, the directory, registry, open ports, etc., and to figure out if there are any kind of exposures that could be resolved through updating of rule sets as part of that. So yes, they do sound similar, but very different altogether in practice. Let's see. Got a question on in terms of pricing for intrusion prevention and how the pricing works. Actually, with everything here aside from the login data management, these are new capabilities we've built in just to drive more value into what you get from Armor. So these are already included as part of what you pay Armor for outside of login data management. By the way, question here is just, when can you expect to see these capabilities? We've actually started the migration process over the last few days, and that'll continue for probably the next 2-week cycle. But you should start to see these capabilities be made available once the upgrade to Armor Anywhere Agent 3.0 has taken place on your virtual instances. So keep an eye out for these. Going to take one last question, just looking here. Let's see what we got. Will the webinar be available online later? Yeah, we will send out the link to this, and right after we've closed here in the coming hours, maybe as late as Monday, and you can take a look and review that. I'm going to wind it up here because we seem to be over time. There are a few more questions that we didn't get a chance to get to, and I apologize for that. We will make an effort to reach out to those people on those questions and provide answers back to you. So want to say thank you very much for attending today's demo webinar. I hope what you saw was how Armor is really delivering a lot of enhancements overall in terms of capabilities to strengthen our threat detection response and giving users or operators a lot greater control over how you manage your security through Armor, through these capabilities. Last thing I want to mention is we have another demo webinar coming up on July 10th timeframe, so please keep an eye out for notifications on that. And thank you very much for attending again.